Hi, everyone. It's Thursday, and Dr. Frankie here for another really important conversation that I want to chat about today. So if you have any reactions to what I'm going to share with you all today, please comment below. If there's anybody that you think will benefit from what I'm talking about today, definitely please share. And if you are enjoying all of the information or lots of the information and content that I put out there, I would love it if you could subscribe to my channel. I am hoping to reach more people, educate people one step at a time, and hopefully they can live healthier, happier, fuller lives. So I would really appreciate a subscribe. I am approaching, I think it's now almost 13,000 followers on here, and that means the world to me. I've been at it for 15 years with my YouTube channel, and now I'm just more consistent weekly, showing up for you all on Thursdays, and I love it. So thank you all for all of you who have already subscribed to my channel. And if some of you are not familiar with me, I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm the CEO of a matchmaking firm that has been around since 2009. It's called Little Gay Book, and you can visit us at littlegaybook.com. It is, we do matchmaking for women who are interested in women. And we also have a division that is heterosexual, and that's Little Black Book, matchmaking.com, or you can go to drfrankie.com and you'll land on my page there. And I'm a coach, I'm an educator, and I'm a board certified sex therapist. So I kind of cover everything about interpersonal relationships, whether it be dating, romance, communication, co-parenting, sex, intimacy, kinks, things like that. So it's just anything related to relationship. So please keep coming back and let me know if there's anything that I'm not covering that you really wish I did. And I try to really respond to what people are asking for. And if there's anything you want to learn more about and you have thoughts, I try to respond to comments. So thanks again all for tuning in today. And I'm just going to jump into the content that I have for you all. So if you're in the United States, many of us didn't get any sex education at all. And if we did, it was likely closer to the Mean Girls depiction than a thoughtful or medically accurate instruction that sets us up for success as sexually active adults. And no matter how relatively good your sex education was, it likely focused entirely on heterosexual sex. Many lesbian and bisexual women who are otherwise very well informed have no idea what safer sex might look like for them. And myths and misunderstandings abound. So I'm going to share what all women having sex with other women need to know about safer sex and sexual health. Lesbian sex can still transmit STIs, but you can reduce your risk. Many of us don't know as much about STIs as we think we do. And one common misconception is that only penetrative sex between cis women and men, oral sex, and even toys can also transmit it. STIs. And it's entirely possible for anyone to be living with an STI without even knowing it. None of this needs to be reason for panic, though. There are plenty of safer sex measures that can quickly and easily protect you from risking yourself to STI exposure. Barrier methods. When we think about safer sex for cis straight people, our first thought is often condoms. And barrier methods, including condoms, are still a great option for lesbians' safer sex, even if the people having it aren't necessarily having penetrative sex. Barrier methods can include gloves or finger cots if you're having sex with your hands. This can protect both people involved from exchanging fluids when they don't want to, through small cuts or wounds on your skin or around your cuticles. Wearing gloves is also more convenient and pleasant in some cases. Removing a glove can be easier than cleaning lube off your hands, for example, and it can protect the receiving partner from the discomfort of ragged nails or rough skin. I know, like from working out for so many years, I've got tons of calluses and I've got rough skin, so it helps. Condoms are also plenty useful in lesbian sex and have more applications than you might think. They can stretch and accommodate many sizes and shapes, meaning they can be used to easily create a barrier around a huge range of sex toys. If you have a Hitachi magic wand, which is the #1 best-selling vibrator out there, or an Enjoy Pure wand next to the bed that you usually use for yourself but want to try it with a hookup, you can put a condom over one easily and share it with your date anxiety-free. Condoms are also enormously helpful for use with strap-ons and dildos, as well as penises. It's well worth keeping them in your bedside table. Condoms are also helpful for any toys you plan to use with more than one partner or used with one partner in multiple ways. They can cause infection to use the same toy for anal and then later vaginal sex. And I know nobody likes getting UTIs, not fun at all. But using a condom means you can change it in between and continue on without worrying about all that stuff. Dental dams. And I know a lot of us cringe when I say the word dental dams, but they are perhaps the most maligned of any lesbian safer sex method. They can be difficult to find, and many feel that they take the pleasure out of both giving and receiving oral sex. At the same time, chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis can all be transmitted through cunnilingus. Some might prefer the option like Laurel's, which promise to be easier to use and wear than dental dams, and they boast material 0.07 millimeters thin for maximum sensation. Sounds pretty amazing to me, and it's safe. Safety and sanitation with toys and accessories. For many queer women, toys are a fun and significant part of our sex lives, whether solo or with others. Although it can feel like using means avoiding direct body fluid contact, there are still safety priorities to keep in mind when using toys in any context, really. Before even using a toy, it's important to shop for the right one. Some toys are made with materials that unfortunately aren't body safe. Oftentimes, sex toys are categorized for sale as novelty purchases, which means that they aren't regulated by the FDA or other governing bodies for our safety. If you've shopped at a general online marketplace for toys and been delighted to find a super cheap toy with great reviews, it's likely that the low price is due to using cheaper, unsafe materials that can leach toxic chemicals into your body. Just a few of these unsafe materials include jelly rubber, PVC, BPAs, low-grade silicone or glass. These materials should be avoided at all costs. Look for toys that say they're, I can't even pronounce it, phthalate, PHTHALATE, and PBA free, and that state they're made of materials including medical grade silicone, medical grade stainless steel, borosilicate glass, so that's BOROSILICATE, ABS plastic, lucite. Some materials are safe in certain contexts. It's important to remember that to use sex toys safely, you should be fully sanitizing them regularly, definitely in between partners. Some materials like wood and leather aren't fundamentally unsafe for your body, but can't be fully sanitized because they're porous materials that absorb body fluids. This means that they shouldn't be used internally or for penetration. They're more appropriate for external use, like wooden spanking paddles or leather strap-on harnesses. Crystal dildos are beautiful but porous, so not able to be fully sanitized. Clean them with antibacterial soap and water, but use a condom if you're going to use them with multiple partners or with yourself and other people. For those toys that can be sanitized, look up the best ways to go about it for that material, or follow the manufacturer's instructions. Silicone, borosilicate, glass, and stainless steel toys can be boiled to sterilize. Some of them you can even put in the dishwasher. For motorized toys like vibrators that can't be boiled but are still waterproof, a solution of 9 parts water to 1 part bleach can be used to sanitize. Never use bleach on you or anyone else's genitals, and rinse sterilized toys fully after cleaning them. Lastly, oh my gosh, that was a mouthful. When it comes to anal toys, even the safest material won't matter if the toy is an unsafe shape. What does that mean? Unlike the vagina, which is a cervix, the rectum doesn't have a barrier to block foreign objects, and it's easy to lose a toy inside of the body if inserted in the rectum. Yes, I just said that. This is why you hear about people needing to go to the ER to have toys removed. To prevent this, make sure that anything inserted anally has at least a 2-inch base that extends beyond the body of the toy itself. Regular testing and pap smears are key. People go to the gynecologist on a yearly basis, please. Part of STI safety for anyone of any gender is regular testing. And for people with vulvas and uteruses, regular gynecological exams are really important and necessary. Regular STI testing is part of a full commitment to health for both you and your partners, and can be a simple part of regular visits to your doctor or local health clinic. Pap smears for people with a cervix can only help detect STIs, but more serious health risks like the human papilloma virus that can cause cervical cancer. Some doctors, included incorrectly, believe that pap smears are only necessary for women having sex with cis men. This belief only makes queer women more vulnerable and means they risk having health issues go undetected. Please go to the gynecologist and make sure you get tested. It's a slow growing cancer, but if it's growing, it can certainly turn into cervical cancer, and we don't want that. Pap smears are used to detect cervical cancer spread by the human papillomavirus, HPV. They are more than 100 different types of HPV, and some types, if you leave them untreated, can cause cervical cancer. Most people with HPV don't have symptoms, and while the virus can go away on its own, it can persist and cause a lot of harm. While women most commonly acquire HPV through sex with a man, it can also be transmitted through genital skin-to-skin contact or sex toys, making pap smears important for LGBTQ women as well. And you actually don't even need to be sexually active with somebody. Just skin-to-skin contact can transmit HPV that can later develop into cervical cancer. It's treated really easy early on, and if not treated, goes undetected, can kill us. Lesbian and bisexual women can still experience violence and abuse. Safer sex includes psychological and physical safety. Coercive or non-consensual sex is categorically unsafe sex, and queer women are still at risk for sexual violence. Experiencing sexual violence or coercion is never your fault and not something you're responsible for preventing. At the same time, being open and honest with others and with yourself about the level of safety, stability, and security you feel in your relationships, and think about whether your relationship is one you'd feel good about, a friend or loved one being in, is important to consider. When getting to know new dates or sexual partners, it's important to remember that they may have a history of experiencing sexual violence. Prioritizing communication, right? I talk about this often. Communication, communication, communication. And explicit consent in sexual encounters can help make sure that everyone is safe and the experience is pleasurable. Is everyone involved? All right, I know that was a mouthful. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here with me today, and I will see you next Thursday. And don't forget to subscribe. Take care.